So again, these are the highlighted are the various topics that we treated around our query designer last week. And those highlighted in red are those that are basically left. Okay. There is one last thing that I would want to talk about very quickly, and that is something very little, so that at least you know how to use those, and those are variants. Okay, variants. So let me quickly talk about variants so that we can move on to the other ones. So again, I will go to all programs, go to Bex Explorer, and then Analyzer to open a report. One of the reports that we built last week. I will open it. Let's pick up. Huh, that's strange. What happened? Let's do that again. So let's say that I have been selecting each time that I come here, every time that I come here, or for the most part in this report. Let's say I run this report twice or 3 times a day, and I always want to pick up the company code. My whole system is very sluggish. Company code 111 to, let's say, 9999. Okay. Now, if this is what I want to be selecting each and every time, and I don't want to be inputting this, I want to save this somewhere. I can save this as a variant. So here, right over here, I can say save as a variant. All right. And, you can call it whatever name that you want to call it. Let's say variant 1. All right. And then you say save. So next time when, I come back over there and I want to run a report, and this comes up and this is not there, right? I can just drop down this menu, available variants, and I put this here, and it automatically populates it for me. Okay, and you can do as many as you can. You can do it on year. Let's say we want a particular year. Let's say from 2000. Let's say from 2000. From 2000 to 2015 as an example, right? Again, you can save this here, save VAR2. All right, and then we can run a save on here like that. All right, so then again, anytime that you open a report and this is the VAR2, you can always select 1, and 1 doesn't have it. If you remember that, 2 will have it because that is how we saved it. That is all for variants. Okay, so anywhere in SAP that you see variants this way, you should know how to basically make use of it. Okay, know how to make use of it. Okay, very well. So let's go ahead and run this report. Very interesting. We have some colors over here. And why do we have colors here? I want to talk about what exceptions are and what conditions are for now, okay? So stay with me. You see, exceptions are nothing but basically colors, okay? Say, for example, we have a report that has, a report that has certain data, and we want to be able to basically say that, you know, if the number, let me put it here somewhere. You basically want to give an exception which is color a number, okay, or color the values, you know, when you know, the value is, let's say, equal to you know, something, right? When the value is equal to something. So you can say that when the value is let's say 69,481 or 69 million, or if it's greater than 69 million, let it be green. Okay, if it is less than 69 million, let it be red. So it's going to be on these values over here where you can actually create an exception so that you actually get color codes. And this is very important, right? Assuming that you are expecting certain figures, you know, you have, let's say, 20,000, you have, let's say, 10,000, right? And then you have, let's say, you know, 1,000. And anything that is 20,000 plus, right? Anything that is 20,000 plus, you want it to be, let's say, green, because it means that it's good. You know, these are thresholds that you actually set up so that you know the certain number that you are expecting, so that as soon as you see it visually and there is something that is red, you know there is a problem. You know, sometimes we have numbers that are negative, and if it's negative and it's in the red, you can actually set up scenarios that way where you actually get to see these type of situations in the report itself. That is what the condition is. Okay, that's what the condition is. Sorry, we're talking about exceptions. So when we say exceptions, they are nothing but basically what colors to identify, you know, thresholds. Colors to identify thresholds, okay, in a report. So let me insert one slide over here so that we can talk about our exceptions and then our conditions. Okay, so that is basically, you know, what it is here. So basically, whenever you think of exceptions, you want to think of seeing colors in your report. Okay. There are times also where, let's say, you know, you want to identify, let's say, the certain numbers as well. Let's go ahead with exceptions and then take a scenario and see how exceptions are built. So we're going to go to our query designer. And we'll go ahead and then pull a report. Let's say, let's pick up this query. And I will go ahead and then take off all these that might have been defined so that there are no exceptions or anything like that for them. So you got no exceptions, no conditions. Let's reopen it. Okay, so I just want to make sure that it's gone. This is what we're used to. We built our reports. We know how to build these reports. So basically, let's get our first rule. Let us say that this is a report, right? It doesn't have anything in here. Basically, this is how it is here. We want to base our exception on the fact that we want to color something specific. Let's say that if it is 69,068,039, right? Let's color it. Let's make it good. So then it's going to be green. Let's take that as an example first. So what do we do here? We're talking about exceptions. Whenever you see this traffic lights, red, yellow, green, those are exceptions. All right. So just click on it. It gives you this tab right here. Another tab comes down here. Okay. Just go inside of it, right click anywhere, and just say new exception. Okay. Remember that you have your report. So once you open your report, you're going to see the exception over there. You click on it. So now this needs to be defined. You can click on edit here, or you can right click here and then just say edit. This is where you do your exception definition. All right. So we see here there are no exceptions. So we're going to say new. Click on new here. Once you say new, still nothing comes up, but this one over here leaves the gray and becomes like that. So we're going to say we want an alert where good, which is 1, anything that is good, 1, 2, 3 is sort of green, right? This is yellow, 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 different types of yellows. And then if it's bad, 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 exception. So we have like 3 colors, 3 primary colors, red, yellow, green. So let's pick up something that is really, really good. So good 1. What is the operator? Are we saying that when it's equal to something exactly, as in it's equal to a specific value, like 69068 69068 039 69068 Did I put it right? Right? If the value is exactly like this, let it give me this. Oftentimes you probably will not do exactly like this unless you're looking for something specific. But you can say if it is equal to, if it's greater than or equal to this number. That means that if it's 69 or 70 or 71 or anything greater than that, that's going to happen, right? So it means that this is going to color and that is going to color as well. If we put greater than or equal to. So let's do a transfer. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and then create another one. So just do a new. And then this time around, let's go to where it's like really, really bad. So let's pick bad 3. And let's say the operator, if it is less than, what should we do? If it is less than 5,400, so this one comes up. So say if this is 5400, 5400, 000, right? So any value that is less than this value, let it show this color, and then you do a transfer. Okay, you are basically done. So you can say that this is an exception. You can call it, whatever you want to call it. Right? Let's say exception 1, or you can call it top bottom 1. Let's say top bottom, let's say 1, that's an example. Top bottom 1 exception. Top bottom 1 exception. This is just a name I'm giving it. All right, so you hit OK, and you see that we have this definition right here. It's done. Let's save this query, and then let's execute it and see what happens. So again, we'll go in and then refresh this, or open it, reopen it. We can use any of our variants to make sure that we have all the data we want. And lo and behold, this is what we have. Now, you realize that this is 69476,116. So we said that if it is greater or equal to, isn't it? So there you see this as well. You see that as well. And you see that for the quantity, it is impacting basically everything. What if we only wanted to be respondent to only our net value and not quantity? So let's go and then see what happened over there. You see the key figures? It's basically working on all the key figures. If you drop this down, we can select exactly which one that we want it to be applied to. Okay? Let's go to edit. We should be able to find the same thing here. If you go to definition, the exception is defined on key figures, all key figures. That we only want it to be under net value. So we can select that so that our quantities, if we want to create an exception specifically for quantity as well, we can do that. All right. So now that this is based off our net value, we can even say, top, bottom, or we can just say exception or net value. Just say net value. Net value. Exception. Okay, and then we save it. All right. So now that this is saved, we go back and you know, we can reopen it. And this is what we have. See? Now, there is one more thing. What if you want to be able to switch it on and switch it off here the way you want it? What do? We can put it anywhere, okay? So I can let's put it here as an example. You see where I've highlighted? How about we put a knob over here and say switch on, switch off. So highlight this part like this. Anywhere you put it is where it's going to show. So let's put it right here. Let's put an exception button here for on and off. So highlight, click once, and then go to this exception right there. This time around, it is in the best analyzer. So click on it. Once you click on it, it gives you the design of how the report looks like. So maybe you don't see this very well, but you see this table. This is where our actual data, where our actual report comes. This is where our actual report is. This is exactly where it is, and we fitted this right here. Okay. You can change this if you want to move it over here. If you click on here like that, it's showing you exactly where it is. Take a look at it. It's at I13. What is that? I13. This is I, and then the number 13 is at that intersection. If we want to put it on F13 right here, I can change it here. From I can change it to, let's see, F. Change it to F. If you like, just do an auto fit so that it automatically fits the whole place and hit OK. You see it moved. So now this is in like a design mode, right? We can go and then select this one over here, this here. You exit the design mode right here. The very first part. We selected exceptions. This time around, we're going to select this so we can actually see what we have done. So look at it. So we called it net value exception, and it's right here. So if I turn it off, it goes off. If I turn it on, our exception, based on whatever our definition is, turns on right there. That's all for exceptions. Okay. All right. So let's talk about conditions. What are conditions? What are conditions? See, unlike our reports like this, whenever you want to run a report, you see what happens here? Whenever you run this, yes, Ikuya, hold on to that for a little bit, and then I will answer that. Okay. Whenever you run this, see this variable. Do you realize that our variables are mostly characteristics? So that we can say we want you to restrict this data by year or by company code. They are characteristics. They are not key figures. All right. Now, a condition is a filter on key figures. Okay. Condition is a filter on key figures. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Let's take an example. Let me use this example here. Let me move these and then put that up here, for example. Oops. Okay, that's fine. Here. We have 58,460,68618. We have all these numbers, right? If I'm looking for the top 3 numbers over here, if I say, give me the ability to filter this whole query by the top 3 numbers. So top n, let's say equal to 3, right? Or let me put it in English. Let me just say that allow query or report to give me my top 3 numbers. You have so many customers. You want to be able to see, wow, I want to see my top 10 customers. I want to see my top 3 products that is moving, right? In terms of, expressed in terms of the net value or the quantity or whatever the key figure is. Okay, so if we want to identify what the top 3 in all these numbers are, let's go and then create that condition and then see how that impacts this report. So let's go back to our query designer. We're still going to be using this very same query. Again, we are done with exceptions. We will come to conditions. This over here is conditions. See, whenever you move you hover it over it, you actually see what happens. This here is condition. So click on it. And there again, you have your condition button. And it's the exact same thing you did with exceptions. Right click. All right. And then do an edit. Or you can go highlight it and come over here and then say edit. Okay. Again, we are looking for what? Top. We said top 3, right? Top 3. Top 3, let's say values or net values. We click on new. You see what I said is based on what? Key figures. It's a filter based on key figures. So we can again do this. It's on net value. Select it. Our operation can be any of these. It can be expressed in the form of a percentage. It can be expressed in the form of the top end, the bottom end. And we said we want top something, top number. So if we say top end, the value should be, let's say, what, 3. So we want the top 3. For all these values that are coming in, give me only the top 3. Do a transfer. Okay? Do a transfer. And then let's do an OK over here. And then hit save. And then let's go into that query and then see the results of that query. So here again, we'll open the query. Let's do variable 2. See, I don't have to sweat putting in anything, right? Do an OK. Right? Remember that we did not save the stuff that we did for condition. So here, let's put our exception here as we did the last time. Don't do anything else and then come out of it. All right? And then also let's put our condition somewhere here. This is this design. We can put it anywhere we want to. Click on your condition. It's right there. Right? And then go out of it. Okay, see, let me move it towards the side a little bit. So let's go to design mode and let me click on this and let me shift it to, it's an I right now, right? So let's do an H. and then this was a J, so this is going to be an I. I'm just shifting it from IJ to H and I so that it occupies from here to here. If you are lost, I'm not doing anything at all. I'm just shifting this here. All right, this currently is on I13. This is the number 13, and this is an I. This is the intersection. The intersection is here, and then it goes on to this place. So, you know, it just didn't look good. I want to shift it so that it's very even with the actual report, which is this table here. Okay. So let's go ahead and then do that. So I can do an auto fit so that it's, you know, it fits in there nicely for me like that. All right. So just so that if you are curious, there is a table over here. It means that really, and this is by the way, but I will come and talk about that. But just so you know, yes, we can even add one more table here and then put a query. If I click on this table, it says there's a data provider, right? If you go inside here, it tells you the query that is going under that table. That is our query. All right, that is what this is all about. That is what this table is. So we can actually insert another table and put another report. So in fact, in your bags, you're actually able to get the multiple queries in the same report embedded, and once you do that, you can save that as a workbook, and we'll talk about workbooks as well. But let's go ahead and preview this. Okay, so here we go. We have our exception and we have our top 3. So top 3 is not yet here. So if I click active, this is basically giving me, let's take out the exception. All right, so there is nothing here. If I do this, it basically gives me my top 3 numbers. The top 3 is based off this over here. We have 69068, 69, 7985. This is more, isn't it? We said top 3. Let's take a look at the definition here. Our characteristic assignment, because of the year range. Let's take a look at it. Well, it should not impact our year range. If we're defining it based off here alone, well, we have calendar year and product. So let's come and select product and calendar year. It looks like top 3 for each product. Okay, let's take a look at it again. See, some people are thinking, so let's, I like that. Exceptions are different from conditions. Conditions are on the key figures, and exceptions are just basically colors. Okay, so you can have both of them being on there, and let's see how they typically work. So let me go ahead, and then I think I did save that query. So let's go ahead and then rerun this query and see the characteristics of it. So it looks like, you know, it's pretty much working because I picked it up based on the product and the calendar year that we have in the query, the structure of the query. So now we have 1, 2, 3 as our top. Okay, now we don't have this and that over here because we did not actually save it. We didn't save this report. So let's go ahead and then add it. This time around, how about we put it over here? Just so you can appreciate. Okay, that's no problem. Let's put one here. We can do conditions here. Okay, so take it off. It's basically gone. It basically brings you all the data. Now again, this is on conditions, so there is no need for any coloring or anything like that. Okay, this color over here is based on the exception because we have an exception on it. So let's go ahead and then add our exception. Okay, so you take off the exception. You want to view top 3, you have your top 3. So you see that it actually filters all of the data and just spits out and gives you only the top 3. So you see that what basically happened was the fact that I did not select anything. So it wasn't basically utilizing it. It did not understand what makes up a top 3. But in our query, we have product and we have calendar year. So this is important that we define for our condition. And once you have that definition, then this is how it is going to be. Then you have your top 3. You can create multiple conditions. We can do top 10. Let's go ahead and then go and do bottom 5 as an example. Okay, so a new one. We do a new one here, and let's say bottom 5 is based on net value. So we're going to say bottom, and then we're going to say 5 transfer. Okay, and then do an OK, and then do a save. Now this over here, as we have it, we can save this, right? We can go to Bex Analyzer, and then we can save this as a workbook. Remember that we've been saving the query, but we have never saved any of this stuff that we've been doing. If you want to keep it this way exactly as is, right, then we ought to save it. So we save it as a workbook. Okay, you can save it into your favorites, or you can save it as a role. Roles have been created in such a way where, let's say you have finance, you have sales, you have different functional areas where we can come in here and then save. And these roles are defined in a way where, let's say, if you are not a part of a role, you are not able to view these reports as a part of your whole authorization process. All right. So this here, I'm going to be saying class, and this is just a description. So I'm going to save this because I created this in the class so that you know that that is what we use, right? And then you save it. So now that we've saved this, if you open this here and you want to open a workbook, not a query, but a workbook, let's go ahead and close all these. And remember, we have a second condition that we defined, and then once we run this, you can ask your question, or you can type it either way you want it. We go this way, and then we do open workbook, and then we have class, and it opens. You see what happened? It's opened it this way for us. Okay. Now I just did a refresh on the workbook, and this is what we have. So there is a bottom 5 as well. It came up over there. So if you want to see bottom 5, you click on it, and it, well, that as well, we did not base it off our characteristic assignment. Okay, which is the reason why we are seeing this. So this one over here is not taking into consideration everything. I think it's taking it by it's not picking it up by product and by calendar. If we do by product and calendar, as the definition is over here, I don't want to be working reverse. But you understand why you select product and year, because that is the definition of your query and then the report. So just make sure that that is over there if you want to see this way in that definition. So once you have that, even anything that you pull in is not going to be affected by the numbers, because you have said that you want it by the product and by the calendar. So you can do a refresh here. And I save that. Sometimes when that happens, all you have to do is just, either refresh, or you can start it off again. So there we go. Product and calendar year. This gives you that. And then this gives you that. We said top 5, isn't it? So top 5, we're giving us this unique 5 numbers. Are they exactly 5, or are they more than 5? Or it's based on the product alone. Product, calendar year. By products, by calendar year. If we do by product alone over here, we do a save. We do a refresh. Have to reopen it. Okay, there we go. And we can take this off. We can bring this back up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I selected it based off the product. Based off the product, that is what it gives me. Based off the product and year, that is what it gives me. If we do because it is bottom 5, right? So bottom 5 products, and then by year as well. Anything else in the query? We have product calendar. That's about it. Okay. Product calendar. Let's look at the distinction between that. So these are exercises that you can play with. Okay, sometimes a refresh is a little bit of a hassle. Exactly. Sometimes you just have to reopen it. So SAP is not perfect. It just makes us a lot of money, that's all, which is why we really don't care. If it's a crappy product, we can still go and enjoy it, right? All right, so you can have either or. You have it this way, and this is our bottom 5. As you can see, it's working perfectly fine because I selected it by the product and by the calendar year. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my bottom 5. If you take it off, you have everything. If you bring this top 3, it gives you top 3. All right, okay, so let's have your question. So you can see that for every situation, we have the definition on the exceptions and then the conditions. So both of them can go, hand in hand. One is just basically the coloring so that we know really what happens, and then the other one is just on the key figures. Any questions? Okay, so let me unmute Ikuya to ask a question, or I will unmute everybody so that.
Okay, Evans, thanks. Actually, now I have 2. You said the conditions are only applicable to the key figures and exceptions apply to everything, right?
Exceptions are just colors. That is correct.
Okay. Okay. And you can apply the colors to all the characteristics, right?
You can apply the colors. See, the colors are based off numbers, right?
Okay. So if you don't want the colors to apply to all your key figures, you have to create an exception for each one.
So if you look over here, when we were creating this exception, the exception was based off this key figure here. You understand that? If you want it based off all of the key figures, it will be this way. But if you want it specifically on, because sometimes you can have queries that will have, let's say, 20 key figures, and you want the exception of a particular key figure, this is the way to do it. So you can uniquely identify that key figure. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right. So now that we have this scenario very well created, you guys can practice it. And once you have this, you can just go ahead and then you can save this workbook. Why do I keep calling it a workbook? Like I said, you can have another table over here, or let's even say we can put it here like that. That also have, let's see, another report, someone else's report. We can have, sales orders over here, and then we can have let's say the billing, or the invoices, or whatever. It really all depends on what they want. But do you have this report only for you to view this? No, you've created, let's say, 2 different queries, but you want to see it in one report. That is a good example. So what I will do is I will select this here as an example. This is where the table starts, right? And then I will go to this table right here. And I will click here. Okay, and I'll do an auto fit. And what do I want? What do I want? Is this the exact thing that I want? Let's say this is what I want. I can do this. And then do an OK. So once I go back into this design mode, you see basically what I have. You see, it's the table started here, right? Because I think I might have selected, I think I selected here. So next time I have to go down one more because it uses the table up over here. So let's go to design mode and then go and shift this table down one notch. It's using K14. So the actual table starts at K14. So maybe we should start where K15? K15. K15 and then 136 because I just shifted it, right? 14, 15, 135, 136. And then I say OK. Design mode. Bravo. You see, so assuming that now, I mean, this one over here, I use basically these two different reports, right? I mean, it's same reports. But assuming you have a different report, if you have a different report, you can put it up. So let me go ahead and, you know, bring in an additional report that we can have. So let's go here, select it here, I go inside, change info provider. So you click here, let's see. Previous year, current year, pull that in, do an OK, auto fit, and do an OK. And hopefully we will be able to get, there are variables, change values, variable values, okay. So if you understand what is happening, those values are a little different. It has to be unique. Let me do 2012 as an example. Let's see what we get. There we go. So current year, previous year, current year, previous year. This is giving me not what I was hoping for, but I will explain what's basically happening. There are two different queries with two different user entry variables. Okay, so if you want to run this report in a way where when you click a variable, this is basically what you have. If it has this exact same thing as we have here, right, in terms of the year and then the company code, then yes, it makes sense. The parameters will pass through each and every one of it and we'll be okay. But that was not the situation, which was the reason why it was given as that example. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't understand, let me know so I can explain it further. I was creating a workbook based off two different queries. So what I wanted to do was to add another table here like that, okay? And if I want to change this query here, if I want to change this query, I can go to design mode and I can change this query to give me another query. But you see, that other query that I am going to put in, let's keep in mind that when we run this for the first time, when we run it like this, this is what comes up. So if that other query doesn't have the exact same manual entry variables over here, then it's going to throw this off. So it means that, okay, what do you want me to put in here? The query, this report is not going to come out, right? Okay, so you can build a subset of this query. Let's say you want to see a different view. Let me see if I can do something else here. So we had, let's refresh this. So these are other options that are available over here for you as well. Okay, you can go through this and see what the various options there are in terms of refresh. When you open an Excel and you want to basically have this add-in show up every time without running backs, you can set that up as well. See that? So there are a lot of options over here that you can basically go through. What I want to talk about is, say for example, I have this here. I can open another sheet and then design another query and open another one and design. So for the very same workbook, which is made up of multiple sheets like this, I can have so many reports, but then they are all tied in one workbook. You can open this and open so report 1, report 2, report 3, report 4, report 5. You can do that. And once you save it, each time that you open this, it's like a big spreadsheet, but then it is connected to the info provider, and you have all your various reports in one place. That is basically what workbooks are all about. Okay, if I open this up here, and do a refresh, you can add multiple things, and then you can come over here as well, go to design mode, and then I put it right over there, which is not, this is not that great, but you see that? So now you have both of it. See this? I put it right over there, so this is why you have this over here. So you can create all these filters and all these, basically that way. But that is advanced. That there is no need for that for you right now to really perfect it, because the truth is that you're not going to be using a whole lot of workbooks, because everything is moving to business objects and the web. But it's good for you to sort of understand and know what is available. Okay, and it's good for you to also learn, say for example, you come to filter. What do I do with these? If I do right click, what are the various options here? Do you want to toggle this to that? Instead of clicking this and that, you can do stuff like that here. Add drill down according to distribution channel and new worksheet. worksheet, right? So if you do that, it just automatically opens another, table for you, and then opens that. And you have all the various, you can sort according to key, text key. We'll talk about all these. You have your query properties, which is basically over here. And whatever you save, and you save it in a workbook, basically it gets saved for you. Okay, so in the query designer, when you save a query, it's a query saved. When you run a report based off your query, and you do whatever you need to do over here, and you save it, it gets saved as well as a workbook. So that is where you come over here, and then you save as a workbook. Okay, you want to make changes to this over here from 20, whatever you want, you can have that. So these are the various elements of the reporting that you can basically have. All right, so we are done with exceptions. We can confidently say that if you ask me any questions around exceptions and conditions, I will be able to get it done very right. Query properties are what defines each and every value. You see, if I select here, you have these here come up. If I select something specific here, you see that it changes, right? This net value, it gives an aggregation, and it says what exception aggregation is, use standard aggregation. You don't have to do anything over here. There are certain times where you have to do certain manipulations. For example, this over here is giving us all in euro, right? And so there is a way where you can actually say that I want to see it in US dollars, or you want to do a currency translation, and that is done in the back end. You can actually have, various currencies, or in terms of the conversion, so you have a conversion rate depending on certain parameters. All these are done in this place. So what is the target currency that you're looking for? If it is US dollars from euro, you can select it, and if you have that definition in the back end, then that is basically what you're going to have. Conversion type, fixed target currency is European. So that you know the capabilities of the BW system, and then also your query designer as an example. These are areas that I would like you to explore. Come in over here and see what all the options are. And like I said, these are all defined in the back end. If the definition is not done right over there in your transaction currency, or your translations, then you're not going to have this here. There are various tables in ECC that gets transported into BW, or your source system that comes into BW backend, that the system uses in doing calculations in the backend. But then once it's defined over there, you have the ability to select what you want. You have the ability to select what you want. Okay? So properties, you have a chance to come in and see what all these various properties are, what they mean. Always show, always hide can be shown. There is no point for me to go each and every step. I will give you, actually, when you review the TBW 20, it might be able to show you some of these definitions. But what you basically need right now, without having to spend too much time on getting to know every little bit of what these properties are, it will help you. to get a job faster and to move on to other things much faster. Okay, if you are interested in display, you want to reverse a sign. These are pretty simple, right? You have numbers, and you're like, you know what? We want the decimal to be 0.00, or we don't want any decimal. You can. This is like Excel. A lot of the stuff over here is really like Excel. All right, so it is for you to really explore and then get used to it as time goes on. All right, then we have the overall query designer properties, which you come over here and it gives you the properties for the accuracy. It says sales report property. So it's not this value and that value or this value, because they all have their own unique properties. But this here will give you the property for what? This. And you can always use it, the drill down, to select the properties you want. If you want to select this, this is the property that basically comes up. All right. We're going to use this query in business objects we'll be reporting. And this query, for it to feed anything outside of BW, we will have to let it know that, look, we want to enable this for external connectivity. And so when you want to do that, there is this here that says extended, right? Extended. You have to select this, allow external access to this query. That means that let any third party use this query as the basis for any query or report development. If you don't allow this, so let's say you're on a project, you're on a business objects and BW report project, and they want you to build a report in business objects using this, and you go in there. We haven't done that, so you can't visualize. That's fine. But you go in there, you're looking for this query, and you can't find it. That is because this query was not what allowed external access. You have to set it this way, and then you save it. Okay. Very well. Now, I will treat replacement path in a little while, but let's talk about customer exits, and then we talk about SAP exits. So, when we say, let's say, quarter to date, right? I want to see a report which is a quarter to date. A quarter to date, if we are in March right now, and we want to see quarter to date, it means that we have to pick up January, February, and then March all combined so that we can see that quarter to date, right? If we are in June and we want to see quarter to date, let's do this. Let's do this. I think this is going to be interesting. So let me pull up something here. Let's say we have January, February. Hopefully this guy will be able to tune it for me. Okay, so let's say 10, 20, let's say these are all amounts, right? These are all amounts. We have quarter one, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, right? So based on these numbers over here, what is Q1? What is the total for Q1? Anybody? If you know it, just type it in there for me. What is the value for Q1? 60. So that is 10 plus 20 plus 30, right? So January, February 1 is quarter 1, right? So 60. All right. Anybody else? Quarter 2. What is that? You see, divide 12 by 4, and then you know what that is. So quarter 2 is 150, which is January, February, March is our quarter 1 for the year. April, May, June is quarter 2. So this, that, and that gives us 150. What is quarter 3? $200. Thank you. And quarter 4? $330. Okay, very nice. I'm going to make some assumptions over here, okay? We are in May, okay? Q3 is 240. Q3 is 240. All right. Okay. So let's say that we are currently in May. Let's say that we are in May right now. So if we want quarter to date number, what will our number be? Anybody else? Quarter to date, and we are in May. What is it going to be? It's going to be 90? Okay, let's see. If we are in May, May falls under what quarter? May falls under the second quarter, isn't it? Okay, so it's going to be April and then May. April and May, so that is 90. Is anybody confused what we're doing right now? Is anybody confused? If you're confused, let me know. This was the assumption, right? All right, so let's assume that we are in November. Let's assume that we are in November. What will be our quarter to date? $210. November, so we have October, November, December, right? So it's October and November is what we calculate. So that is 210. Perfect. Okay. Now, you realize that based on whatever quarter that we are in, the numbers change. So the numbers are dynamic, right? So SAP creates a variable for us already that automatically calculates something like that. So that we're saying that if a quarter is January, February, March, quarter 1, April, May, June, quarter 2, and SAP creates an exit that is called quarter to date. We can use that, and since SAP created it, all we have to do is just basically use it, and the system automatically does what? It automatically does the calculation for us. If SAP doesn't have this already in the system where we can drag and drop it as a variable, we have to create it on our own. And that is what a customer exit is. A customer exit is it's a business function that is not predefined by SAP and that is what? Defined by the customer or by the client or by you as a developer for business use. Okay, so you can always go and Google SAP customer exit, and then you can have an idea of how. So you can calculate months to date, 6 months, ago. So for every time the value that is coming in, it's a calculation of the last 6 months. So we did quarter to date, right? Another is, let's say, last 6 months. So last 6 months, it's going to pick up whatever month we are in, like we're in February now, right? No, we cannot change SAP exits because they are not changeable. If you want to make any changes, you can look at the code, but then you would have to create your own. So no changes to anything that is in SAP namespace. Don't change anything. It will not even allow you. But if you can and you change it, you may be fired. All right? Never change anything. You can always make a copy of something, or if you cannot, because sometimes it doesn't even allow you, just go and create your own. And this is where ABAP comes in. Okay, this is where ABAP comes in. So when it comes to customer exits, we can look at the steps in creating a customer exit. So let me give you an example. You can always go to Google. So you guys, to learn how to start researching things for yourselves, one of the ideas for this training is for you to be able to be on your own. You're being trained to be independent. You're going to be an independent consultant, contractor one day, or even working full-time where you actually depend on yourself. So you can say how to let's say customer exit, right? Variable, see, is there already. You hit it and look at it, how to use customer exit variables. Using user exit for variables in batch reporting, right? You can, how to create a customer exit date variable. So you can find stuff, read about it, and that is the only way that you can be good. So you do view document. Okay, it says how to create a customer exit date variable. Let's assume you have an info provider with the characteristic calendar day, and you want to restrict results of the query to current month to date. So current month to date is basically what? This current month, right? Or whatever the current month is. Let's say, for example, in your user entry variable, you select current month to be January 2013. But to date, which is today, we are February 2nd. Do you understand that? So this customer exit is going to calculate from the January that you input all the way up to this particular date. This particular date. It's a day. So up to this particular day. It calculates and gives you the amount. Okay, so if this is not readily available, it shows you how to create it. So basically, you're going to go ahead and create it the same way, only this time around, your processing type will not be manual. It will be customer exit. Okay, it's going to come at the time you have, we don't have calendar day. Their example is based on calendar day. So you do it new, and your processing type will be what? Customer exit. And the reference characteristic is based on your calendar year, because that is what you're actually basically doing. And then you give it a name. Underscore customer exit. Okay? You give it a name, and then you say what? Current month to what? Date. Current month to date. Sorry. So you see, assuming that I didn't know how to do this, I could just come over here and then just follow. So this is an interval, represents interval, mandatory. So what you put in here will be the current month, and the system will use this to calculate all the way up to the exact date that you have. You see? So once you've done this, then you're going to go to transaction C mod or S mod, which is, basically for, buddies. And there will be a project. I don't want to go into detail as far as here is concerned, but you're going to put in this. This one over here is always going to be that way, especially for what? User exit variables, RSR000. So when they ask you, how do you create it? You can create that variable exit. You give it a name. You come over here, and then you put in this. Once you put in this, the system knows that you want to create a user exit variable. All right, and you execute, go into the include, and basically you're going to find this. And when you come down over here, again, this is gibberish. I don't want to go through all that. Define variable for using as a starting date of the interval, right? So current month, you basically define exactly how you want the system to do the calculation for you. And this is how the code looks like. A lot of this stuff you see up over here is already there, okay? It's already there for you. That is why it is in the blue, but the code example here is basically all you're going to do. So as a matter of fact, it's samples like this, you can copy it, and then you can edit, and then you can just have basically what you want. You have to have a little bit of ABAP skills for you to understand this, but when it comes to this here, all you need to know is, well, yes, I've worked on multiple customer exits, but I have an ABAP help me, but you go to CMOD, you execute the right user exit, which is RSR0001, right? And then you are going to fit in the name of the variable that you created in the front end somewhere over here, so that it's going to be like when, ZCMTD, which is the name of, in our case, is going to be when ZVAR_C. Right? So you're saying that whenever you are considering this variable, perform this function. That's all. That's all. Perform this function means that look at whatever date that I put in, right? And then also look at today's date, and then consider whatever the key figure it is, and then do what? Add all of that, and then give me the values. That's all I want to see. So when that happens, you have created a customer exit. The good news is a lot of these exits have been already predefined by SAP, and it's available. So all you have to do is activate it in the backend, and once you activate it, it comes up over here, so you're able to see some of them. So I don't know if there are any customer exits, but if there is any SAP exits, you'll see it over here by the processing type. Okay. You see that? You see SAP exit? SAP exit. It says last 12 months excluding the current month. So if this wasn't available, then you have to use what? Customer exit for it. Last 12 months excluding the current month, which means that give me the values for the last 12 months, but then take this very month out. Take February out, and then calculate January backwards, 11, right? This is some pretty cool stuff. So always know that if there is not anything available, there is always customer exit, and that is what allows SAP to be so flexible based on the user requirements. You can give anything out there. Any questions? All right, very cool. So now let's talk about replacement paths. And I'm going to use a text variable. We're going to, I think that what you need to know right now is what we have, okay? So as time goes on, especially, I don't want to go to RSA 1 because you guys haven't been there yet. And I don't want to touch ABAP because even if we do that example, you're not going to be able to do it because you're not an ABAPer. But when we start having projects, once we are done over here, I will do an example for you to see. That will be, you know, it's later on somewhere down the line. I will also give you some sample codes, what it does and how all these calculations are done. Okay. What you need to know now is when you have to create a customer exit variable, you create it just this way, only that is what processing type is customer exit. Give it a name. The technical name you're going to use is what you're going to feed into when you go to transaction CMOD in the backend. So you go to CMOD, you put in, you create a project. A project is nothing but, you know, just to define what you are doing, and you give it a name of what you're doing, and then you execute the right user exit, right? And then once you do that, you're going to say, when I'm talking about this variable, do this set of instructions for me. That's all. And this is an example. So if you want, I can put this somewhere over here for you. Let's see where the training are. So how to customer exit. So how to document on customer exit. All right, so let's take an example here. Last week we treated previous year and current year quantity. I want to open that. I want to open that. So we said current year and we said previous year. Let's go into this and try to open it. So we're saying that our year, current year is 2012. So we hit OK, and it gives us the current year and then the previous year, right? Okay. Now, what is this current year? What is this current year? What is the year that we input? Just put it in the chat for me. 2012, okay. So if I am a user and I run this report and I print this report out and send it to somebody, how are they going to know that this is 2012? Why wouldn't they think it is 2013? Why wouldn't they think it's 2013? So I want us to consider a text variable with a replacement path, okay? A text variable with a replacement path, which means that whatever that we select, it should be able to come up over here and say 2012 year amount. So that if this is 2012, then this one here will be what, 2011. All right? So a replacement path is basically picking up this information. The system automatically picks this up and goes in all the way to come and then tell us that, okay, yeah, this is 2012. So it replaces this over here, this current, to whatever we select here. That's a good question. What about free characteristics? Now, what if you don't have calendar year in your free characteristics? Eunice, what if you don't have that? Also, another question is, what if you are printing this to your boss? This is a report. You've printed it. There is no free characteristics in that report. How is he going to know what it is? You get my point? So we have to take care of it in the report in itself, as though it is on printed paper. So what do we do about this? Let's pick up current year as an example. Current year. You see this here, this little box over here, this one right here, it gives us something. Free characteristics is not going to show. Look, if I print this report right now, if I highlight this and I print it and I send it to my boss, it's on paper. Now, if you can see free characteristics here and you print it this way, Eunice, even though you're showing this filter as a free characteristics, it's not even telling you what the year is, because it's only supposed to be what? Available for ad hoc analysis, where you can drag and drop it into the actual report. So the question Eunice is asking is, why do we need a text variable, replacement path, all of that, when we have free characteristics that has calendar year? It should be able to tell us what a year is, but the answer is it doesn't. Well, after you drag and drop it into the rows, you will be able to actually see it. But what if you don't need it in there? Your boss tells you that, hey, I want you to give me product and then the net value. Or this is exactly the report that they want. Product, current year, previous year. Current year, previous year quantity. They are not interested in seeing this. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see calendar year. They want to see the current year and the previous year. So if you drag and drop this in here, that is not what they want to see. They want to print exactly this. You see, every business, otherwise it becomes redundant and you're giving them what they don't need. Am I making sense? If this is exactly what they want, this is what you give them. So let's be lucky that there is something called a replacement path that we can use in this scenario. Okay. So this current, first of all, let's take out the current, because we don't know. Current means anything we select, right? So let's take out this current first. So we have year net value, so that anything that we put in there should be able to give us basically what we are interested in. So here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this first so that you get it. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to click this entry variable here. You see, these are text variables. Let's go back to this and see what our variable is based off. It's based off calendar year, isn't it? It's based off calendar year. So this is based off calendar month, fiscal year. So we don't have any here. We are going to create a text variable this way. Create a new variable, all right? Do a create. Call this, you know, text variable by calendar year, isn't it? Let's call it Z text variable underscore 1. Okay? Okay. We've created this. The manual processing type is based on whatever we are going to input. If we say replacement path, what happens is we're saying that whenever there is a user exit or a user entry variable based on calendar year. Where is our calendar year? Calendar year, this way. We want you to replace this variable Okay, what is the technical name for that again? All right, never mind. Let's use the info object first. Okay, let's use the info object. And then we go to details. No default values. I think this is basically it. The info object is the calendar year. So info object is 1 second. This year, this is calendar year. This is a variable, manual entry variable, all right, right? But we use an info object called cal year for this. So we're saying that whenever it's based off that, then replace it with the label. And the label is, let's say, 2012 or whatever it is, okay? So let's go in here. This looks good. That looks good. And then let's do an OK. This is calendar year. This is calendar year. Is that we use calendar year, right? Okay, let's do an OK. And then we save it. ZTV1. ZTV1. So I'm going to double click on this. And you see here, ZTV1 here is where the replacement path is. So maybe we should take it off and come and put it in the front, because that is where we want the 2000 and whatever we pick up, this is where we want it to be, isn't it? So we can put that up over here, and then we can do a save. So you see here, this doesn't make sense, right? It's not like previous or current or anything. It's this, because it's going to be replaced by whatever number or whatever variable that we put in there. So we are doing a text variable based on replacement path. Okay. Let's go ahead and then run this query and see what happens. I've had situations where we've had to do this a few times before it works, but 2012, let's run this again. Let's pull these off for a little bit. All right, okay. Today, I think that I will give you about 15 minutes break. So let's take a break. So everybody complains about that. Let's take some 15 minutes break. We'll come back and then we'll continue. Okay. When we come back, then we can come and and then complete it. So we're coming back exactly at 10 o'clock. All right, you are all unmuted, so feel free to talk. Well, let's take our 15 minutes break. Hello. Sorry guys, I think I was muted myself. So I went ahead to start a new report. We have the sales report by the previous and the current year. Okay, this was the previous one we built. We have that open. I want to base this current year. I'm going to take off this current because I want a replacement path on there. Okay, let's come over here. Let's do a new variable. Let's call this text variable for our calendar year. Text variable for a calendar year. Come on. Okay. And I will go ahead and then call it ZETM underscore is my text variable one. Okay. All right. And then here, the processing type obviously is by replacement path. I want to be able to select something in the manual entry, and then it's by replacement path, it pushes it and gives me the values over here. So then that way I know exactly what year it is in my report. The characteristic for the variable we're going to be using is based off calendar day, right? We built that based off calendar day for our manual entry variable. So we are all set over here. Okay, we are all set. Then let's move on to the next path, replacement path. Okay, now I can use either this info object, which is my calendar day info object, or I can use the variable that I created. So let's take the first, this is the first option, okay? I'm using this based off an info object, which is my calendar day. All right, so I select info object. I could use a variable name. I could have used a variable name and then picked up this variable name. This was what I used for my for my manual entry here. This variable here is called ZETM underscore V001. But I want to use the info object itself, which is the calendar day itself. Calendar day. And I'm going to replace it with a key. Okay? The key because it is a true number inside of the info object. So I'm going to use this as a key. I don't do anything else. I'm basically done with this definition. Once I'm done here, I can do a save. Save this variable this way and then that way. Okay? It's saved. And then I hit what? Okay. So you see that it's right here. Right here. So the variable is saved. The query needs to be saved, so I can go ahead and then save it over here. See, sometimes when you're defining this, like I did previously, I forgot to click on the save over here. You can do an OK. It's not saved. In that situation, come over here and then do a save all here. And then you can always click on the save to make sure that this is basically done. So as you can see, this here is primarily done. Okay, so let's go and run this report. I only did it for current. Now it's not even saying current or anything anymore. So let's go back here, and then I select 2013, open, previous current, and There we go. It says 2013 year amount. See that I did not put 2013 there, but it came there by itself. Okay. Now, if I go here and I'm going to copy what I created. It's already there, right? It's a text variable. I can come to the previous and put it in over there like that without doing anything, and I will hit save. Let's go back, open. And I get, this is current, so we need to do an offset on that. Current year and then previous year, isn't it? So what should we be getting? We should be getting 2012, isn't it? Let's go back here. You have 2013, you have 2013 because that's what we did. That's basically what we did. We did not do any offset on there for this one. Kofi, you there? What are we missing? What are we missing?
Yeah, Evans?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, suggestion. Don't you think we have to change the date at the analyzer when you go in there to run it again? The screen that first pops up is still showing 2013 over there. And I think we have to change it to 2012.
Why do we have to change it?
Because we're trying to get a previous year, right? Or we don't have to change that.
So whatever you select, whatever.
Hello, Evans. Hello?
ZETM underscore. this with the key, it should be with the label. Let's go build one more. And it's still text variable. Still text variable for how please mute your phone. This stuff is very sluggish. ZETM underscore v. It's a text variable, right? So text variable is 3. The first one we did was based off an info object, isn't it? Let's try a variable, and then we can put in our Z variable here this way. So this time around we can select label for basically what we are replacing it with. So the label is basically whatever you actually input in there. Okay. We hit enter, and this is basically what we have there. So let's try that as well. And after that, then we'll have to figure out what exactly is happening, why we are not getting our offset. We do a save here because we did not save over there, and then we do a save over here again just to be sure. Go back, let's close a couple of them. You can do 2010. 2010 will now be current. Okay. Did not show up. There's something wrong over there. So you see how sometimes it's a struggle. You're working, you don't know what's going on. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not doing something wrong? If you're working and you don't have issues, then you may have problems. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, so let's figure out why the first time we use an info object and a key, which is what it's supposed to be. This time around, let's go back and change. There are always several ways around this. So I deliberately used this variable. Okay, it's the variable, and we're replacing this with the label. So this is very well defined. Why do we have a problem? It's a calendar. No, see, the reference characteristic here is calendar day. That's not what we want to use. So it won't allow us again to do it. All right, so I'm going to do TV4, and this time around we're going to put calendar year over there. That's the problem. You see, this is not based off, this here is based off calendar year. I hope you understand that when I say that. So here is showing calendar day. Okay, it's supposed to be calendar year because our variable, when we defined it here, is based off this calendar year. We don't have calendar day here. So if you select that, you may have problems. Okay, So let's go back again. I'm going to create another one. ZETM TV and underscore 4 new text variable for calendar year. Actually, we called it calendar year. I don't know why we did not. So ZETM underscore text variable 4. Okay. Replacement path. Here we change this to calendar year, local year. Okay. All right. Placement path. We already did this and we know this works. I want us to try a variable. The variable, and then you're going to select label. Okay.
Evans,
Yes.
a quick suggestion. Instead of we working it from the current year amount, can we change the previous to text instead of the current?
Can't we change the previous to what?
We're trying to get a previous year amount, right?
No. We haven't gotten there yet. I'm showing you
Okay.
another way to do text variable. The first one that we did was based off using a variable. No, sorry, using an info object. Right?
Okay.
This time around, we're using a variable. And we are replacing with the label.
Oh,
If the
okay.
label is not available, we can do a key, and this should probably work. All right, so it's the same thing. So I don't know why people are lost, but we'll have the time to talk about this. The info object worked all right. Don't get me wrong, the info object worked all right. I'm showing you an alternative that when you use an info object, you can use that, or you can use the other. All right, I'm just showing you an alternative, so don't be lost. It's the same thing if you did that. We've seen this work before, but I'm showing you another alternative, which, in my opinion, I think it should work. So there we go. Okay, so this is working now. 2012. So when I changed it from the label, it didn't like the label. It didn't like the label. See, this is how you learn. When you have a problem, you have to figure out exactly where the problem is coming from. I changed it back. I'm going back to see if it's going to not work again. So we know that it doesn't. You see that? It doesn't like it. It doesn't like the fact that we are selecting label. So the variable option is working right now, right this minute, with the key and not the label. It should work with the label. It should work with the label, but we'll figure out why it is not working with the label, later. But it should work. It should work. Okay. So let me go back again. Somebody is asking what is key. Key is the actual data that you saw in the spreadsheet, right? If we are loading this data, and this data has, let's say, product, right? And there is a product 1111, product 2222. These are keys. They are primary keys. They are all keys. Okay. The actual data that comes is a key. If I have calendar here, okay, and we have, let's say, 2012 coming in, we have doing a drop down here to see this, right? What